and we'll talk a little. Kind of toward the end of the day. And I got a little charge in the battery, so we'll make use of it. Yesterday it was. I was surprised, all of a sudden I heard that Hungary was changing its mind, that Hungary was going to let weapons pass through its area. They've been pretty firm about not doing that. And I thought, wow, that's a big step. Because then you're opening up your citizens to, darn well, I mean, if they're going to start bringing stuff into Hungary, they're going to suffer for that. And that's what they were trying to avoid. But there was a claim that, oh yeah, they were going to completely change their mind. They were going to let weapons in, let military come through. Well, then a little later in the day, then I hear, oh, it was all bullshit. It's one of them things that somebody in Hungary's State Department had been talking to the mayor of one of them towns in Ukraine, and now I'm familiar with this mayor. He's done weird shit before, He's the one who, I believe he owns the radio station, so he's nothing but propaganda. But the Ukrainians are good for that. They'll take something that you didn't say and make it sound like you said it, and then you have to deny it. Well, that's what the Hungarians did then. They said no. They're doing the same thing they always did. They're not allowing that to happen. And I had heard, as far as like to take in wounded soldiers, they were a little iffy on even that. Even like the Swiss, they tried to get the Swiss to do that, and the Swiss, they're trying to stay neutral in this too, and they kind of declined because they said you can't tell, who's a soldier, who isn't a soldier. It's impossible to tell. They're all involved in it, and they wanted guarantees that if they took care of somebody medically, that they would then be out of the fight. And of course, Ukraine isn't going to go with that. If they can get somebody patched together, they'll throw them right back in the mix. So the Swiss bowed out of that deal. People try to take care of the civilians, but you can't. Anyway, another thing I heard, so Hungary is where they were before, which is the safe place to be. But another thing I heard was the weird thing about Ukraine selling gold. They had a certain amount of gold when the struggle began. And they've been selling it off. But it turns out they have sold 7 times as much gold as they actually had. So then you got to think, okay, where is this extra gold coming from? Is this that long-rumored Nazi hoard that nobody's been able to find? Did the Ukrainian Nazis inherit that? Or are there Nazi scientists transmuting metals, making gold out of lead? So I heard at one time that the Ukrainians wanted to make gold coins and sell gold coins. Well, as corrupt as that place is, would you buy a supposed gold coin from Ukraine? And if you do, I wouldn't scratch it too much. And I think she's going to be a lead base. But they're looking at ways of making money, which is where I suspect this mystery gold came from. I would think the likelihood is, it's been rumored that they've been selling an awful lot of this weaponry, probably selling it for gold, then turn around selling the gold, turn it into dollars that they could squirrel away. All these dollars that keep turning up, when people are trying to get across the border with suitcases full of $100 bills, that's coming from someplace. So I wouldn't doubt if there's some black market weapons dealing going on. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I was glad to see that Hungary wasn't being stupid. Because, man, that ain't some mess you want to get involved in. Well, I'm going to cook her again today. But I got stuff to do. And, like today now, not only hot, but very gnatty. Gnats are unpleasant. For a while there we had mosquitoes, now we got gnats. We had gnats earlier, and I thought they were done for the year, but when it's just warm, we got a fresh crop of them. But at least the wood ticks are backed off. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure nobody will look into this gold. It's not to our advantage to look into this gold. So that'll just be a mystery. It's funny. That place is so ungodly corrupt, it's actually just laughable. I mean, it's funny because, all of a sudden he's accused that, he's got all his buddies and old people from his show on his staff, and all of a sudden he's accusing them of being traitors, and that's a mess. But we keep pushing it. But then, in the midst of all this, good old Pelosi's going to go over to Taiwan and stir shit up there. They're transitioning to that, but boy, that's you can't go playing around with them. With China, I mean, China, Russia is patient. Russia does what they have to do. China will just go nuts. And she's going to go over there and provoke them. That is a crazy bunch. I mean, it's humorous to watch them, but it's, everything they do sometime will have to be undone. And it ain't going to be easy. I mean, we have made enemies all over the world. For no good reason. It's what we do. But how are you ever going to get that straightened out again? But there's going to be a lot of wealthy Ukrainians when this is all said and done. They're all getting their slice of the pie, the American pie. Yeah, she is buggy. It ain't only gnats, it's there's some little black bugger of some sort, and they do bite. This is the season of insects, man. I was out on the motorcycle earlier today. It's just you're constantly getting pelted with bugs. But we'll see what goes on. Funny, I said the other day about Google is getting fined by Russia. Well, now Russia is going after Wikipedia. Well, okay, justifiably so, because Wikipedia is a weird thing. You know, people always use that as the authority on things, and it really isn't. But that's like, say, when you get a warning about misinformation on a video or potential misinformation, it's always they're quoting from Wikipedia. Well, that's no authority to quote from, but that's what it always is, you know. And people, you know, I've seen many things in Wikipedia that I know are not true, and they continue to quote them. So I can justify them hitting them with a fine. You know, because always anything on RT, there's always got to be this disclaimer, kind of, that they put on. That's from Wikipedia. So they got a pile of things they're demanding they be changed, but you know, Wikipedia is one of them things. Yeah, you can change it, and someone will change it right back. And you know, it's just a like consensus of sometimes very ill-informed people. But you can't use that for a standard for anything. They are not really an authority. But they want to treat them like that. Yeah, there's a lot of them little black buggers. See, that's where a clear bottle is nice. You can tell if you're going to swallow one. But I am making progress on stuff, despite the heat. But I'm going to have to go at the hay, and I would prefer that it wasn't quite this hot, but I'll give it a try tomorrow and see if I can get any mowing done. I think I've got the Belarus working properly. In all my stuff, I happen to have a thermostat that fit perfectly in there. The only downside was that the thermostat that I had, it was a brand new one in a box, but it's a 195. I would prefer it to be like 180 or even less. But it seems to work now. So we'll see if we don't run hot tomorrow. And the thermostat that came out of there was like one I have never seen before. It was stuck, but it was stuck open, but the design was such that the thermostat would open, but if it opened too far, it actually closed. You know, I really don't quite understand how that was supposed to work, but I put however it was supposed to work, it wasn't working right. So I put a conventional thermostat in there. Like I say, I have no idea what this was originally intended for. You know, it's stuff that I had bought from a gas station that closed out. You know, I just bought a bunch of parts, and this new thermostat was in that bunch. But it fit the housing perfectly. So we'll see. Though, like I say, 195, not the best for this time of year. But we'll see. Yeah, very curious about this. I hope somebody does look into this mysterious gold. But like I say, they don't know where these weapons go. I mean, everybody agrees, okay, we send them over there, they disappear. Nobody knows what happens to them. There's been accusations that they actually sold some of them to the Russians. And of course, when you're getting these new pieces of equipment, the Russians are willing to pay. They would pay in gold to get their hands on the latest, greatest. It's funny too. Ukraine was saying, or Zelensky was saying, or one of his people, they want to be the test for all of the new equipment. Anybody dreams up any new piece of equipment, send it to them and they'll test it out for you. Well, that's what they've been doing, whether they know it or not. They dream up this stuff and it's been in the military for quite some time, but they never had a chance to use it. So now they're letting the Ukrainians use it, but like I said, they don't. A lot of that stuff they say, it'd take at least 4 months training to be able to run something. How are they dumping it off there and expecting them people to run that? That's where I still think we have people running it. And they're still wanting to take a crack at Crimea. And it's funny because we know that will be the real kickoff of things. If Ukraine does it, we say, don't do that. But yet we give them the stuff to do it. We're trying to play innocent in this deal, but we're setting it up. And if they take a crack at Crimea, or at the bridge, which just irritates the hell out of them, all hell is going to break loose. They have been warned repeatedly, and we know it, and we pretend that we want to avoid that, but at the same time we give them exactly what they need to do it. We don't give a rat's ass about Ukrainians. They're just a tool that we're using, and not a very sharp tool. But they're great for weapons deals and little slippery maneuvers with money. We send pallet loads of cash. Again, we're great for sending pallet loads of cash. Nothing that good ever comes out of pallet loads of cash. But that's what we've been doing. Boy, that's going to bite us. But, like I say, I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to end up on the black market. And we will be dealing with this again. It happens all the time. And the funny part, I can see where the tide has kind of changed in our attitude towards Zelensky. Like right now, he's our guy, man. Oh, he can do no wrong. But this always happens. All of these people that are suddenly the horriblest people in the world, Gaddafi, Saddam, all these people, at one time they were our guy. Noriega. That one. Great big black guy. What the hell was he? He was another one of them. He was our guy. And then all of a sudden we turned on him. We don't pick our allies very well. just, how much use they can be to us at a moment, and then we can discard them whatever we want to. And that's exactly what's going to happen with Zelensky if he lives through this. If he's smart, he's going to take a plane load of cash and bail on this situation, but he ain't that smart. Because if the Russians don't kill him, his Nazi buddies will kill him. You should go to England. They like him there. You can go there. Or here. That could happen. We've done that before. But things are getting pretty dicey over there. So we'll have to see. But I think the gold is an interesting angle. Color day.